Supper.
Pizza. I remember. And I bought a container of sour candies for Kristen because I noticed she had only note on that board. I kept trying to remember to bring it in, so I just left a big bucket of sour candies there.
All right, good evening, everybody. Councillors, we'll start our meeting. I've got a motion moved by Councillor McPherson, seconded by Councillor Bellefontaine, that council adopt the agenda of regular meeting RM02-2020 as presented, unless there are any changes, additions. All right, then as presented, all in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In favor, none against. Motion's carried. Are there any declarations of interest in any of the items tonight? All right, none noted. Councillor absences. I've got a motion moved by Councillor Bellefontaine, seconded by Councillor McPherson, that council excuse Councillors Mike Rowe and
Deputy Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Antoine.
Yeah.
Okay. From the regular meeting RM02-2020. Any discussion? All in favor? Is that a yes? Okay. 6 in favor, none against. Motion's carried. Councillors are excused. And we do have 2 delegations this evening. We have Corporal Jordan Foreman in place of Sergeant Byron Donovan here this evening to answer any of your questions if you have any regarding recent RCMP reports, or if you would like to come up and give any kind of a verbal report that you'd like.
Can I come out?
Sure, yeah,
Yeah.
just sit right there, yeah. It's all good.
This is my first time here, so I haven't met a lot of you, so I think it would be appropriate. I'll keep it brief. Been here since July. I was in Wati for a little over a year as a detachment commander there. And then I was in Fort Providence for the last 2 years as a detachment commander there. My wife and kids came with me as well to all the communities in here, and my kids go to school. My post here, my primary post is on the detachment commander of Wrigley. I'm also the operational NCO of Fort Simpson. So that means I take care of the day-to-day policing operations, supervision of the members, and the flow of the investigations. So issues come to me and then hiring.
That's Celine Antoine.
I've been
She's absent.
I've been a police officer
Yes,
since
she's
2006 as well. I spent the first 10 years in BC doing a bunch of different work. So that being said, I'll leave it up to all of you folks if you have any questions for me about anything.
Okay, do you want to just put her on?
Hello?
Hi.
Hi,
Okay.
Celine.
All right, we're just taking note that you've joined the meeting, Deputy Mayor Antoine.
Okay.
And we've got Corporal Jordan Foreman
She's
representing the RCMP, and he was just introducing himself. And he wanted to do mutual kind of introductions here. So I'm Sean Welly, and I'm the mayor. And we'll go around the table here.
I'm Ben Kofi, the finance manager.
Aunt Marie Lafferty, Councillor.
Troy Bellefontaine, Councillor. Clayton Morrow, Councillor. Kirby Grove, Councillor. Leave that open now, I think.
Moaz Hassan, Council.
Liza McPherson, Councillor.
And on the phone,
Selena Antoine, Deputy Mayor.
Nice to meet all of you officially. I'm sure you've seen me out and about. I had a beard recently. I shaved it off, so I look a little different.
yeah, well, we certainly hope you are enjoying your posting here in Fort Simpson. And I guess it might be a little bit busier than the other 2 places. No?
No, not at
Oh,
all.
that's good.
I'm going to be completely upfront. It's not even close.
Oh,
No.
That's good.
well, that's a good sign for us, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's a nice community.
Yeah.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions for him about anything that we have going on, anything on the report, feel free.
Just noticed, just speaking Kirby here, just noticed in the bottom portion of this where you got, there's some bootlegging that's up, but drug traffic's up. Mischief and damage is 35 year to date, and the previous year was 1. Mischief, next one is 95, and there was 0 last year. Impaired, same. Other complaints 643 versus 355. Is there a different way of scoring things now or something than there was before?
I'm going to suggest that's a typo.
Yeah.
On our end.
Yeah.
So there was definitely more than 1 mischief. So an example would be if we're going to a house and we have 2 people who are disagreeing, and the house owner has a guest over there, or they have a family relative, and they're yelling or they're slamming doors or breaking things. Classify that as an example of a mischief, and I can guarantee we have more than 1 of those. So
Yeah.
I think that's just an oversight on our
Yeah.
part of not bringing the last year's totals to this year's totals.
Yeah,
So
it's just a little.
you'll see you'll see that corrected on the next month's report.
Other than that, I'm happy. You guys are doing a very good job.
Thank
Keeping
you.
on top of things and
Appreciate that.
keep at it.
Councillor Hassan.
Thank you. I just have a question. You guys report is public, is it right?
Pardon me?
The report, the RCMP report is public.
That you give us?
That we give them to you guys. We don't give them to the community, but they go to the government for the Northwest Territories.
Okay, because I'm also a member with the Wellness Council. I noticed most of the incidents, or most of the cases that being reported on the report, like some of them are alcohol issues, drug issues, and family violence, whatever. They concern also the same way the Health and Social Service. Do you guys share this information with the Health and Social Service, or it can happen only upon request?
If people request in the past, the statistics are kept and owned by the GNWT and the Canadian government, right? So if we're going to share statistics, there has to be an official request. We can have general conversations with people, but it does come from a request per se. So we don't go and say, hey, we have this many statistics. Sometimes we'll join in a group project where there's a memo of understanding signed. If we do have special projects where we can share those, but those are generally signed off by our senior management as well too. But the statistics are, I believe, available year-end somewhere. I don't know if it's through the GNWT or the Canadian government. But if you would like, you can get in touch, and I can talk to Byron and mention that was brought up.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, councillors? Deputy Mayor, did you have any questions?
No, thank you for coming over here and introducing yourself.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank
You guys have a good night.
Yeah, have a good evening, Mayor Corporal Foreman.
Hockey?
I am into the hockey. I am playing this weekend.
Right on.
Okay.
Curling?
Yep.
Are you a curler?
You know what? Yes, I am. I'm curling with my wife the next weekend.
Perfect.
Actually, I'm not a curler. I just started this year. My wife likes to do it, so it's something that we can do together.
Right on.
So, all
Perfect.
right, take care,
See
everybody.
ya.
Bye-bye.
We'll see you. All right, second delegation, Martina Norwegian, representing the Historical Society. If you'd like to come to the front of the table there. Welcome, Martina. And what brings you out this evening?
I had nothing to do, so so I had to come here. Well, thank you very much for allowing me to come and make a presentation to the table and to the council. And there is 2 things that I wanted to talk about, and one was the designation and classification of the Fort Simpson Historical Society, that building, and also the statement of claim for the water damages to the building that is currently going on with the village and with the Historical Society. So there are the 2 things, but I just wanted to again update you on where we are with the Fort Simpson Historical Society. I was looking through, I was really looking for my claim, statement of claim and the date, and I couldn't find it. So, and Allison was busy to give me that. So I think you've got the dates and you've got that on file.
Mhm.
But I just wanted to go way back to 1989 when we first had a meeting with when the Heritage Center was just starting. And our founder, Steve Rowan, when he saw the diamond in the rough with the McPherson House, and where he worked at it, and in the end bought the land, and now that it's a heritage center for heritage park for representing Fort Simpson, representing Flintley Crane, and and all the steps that it took to become that. And at that time, we had, right now, we had Morris Lafferty on our board. At that time, we had Andy Norwegian, Helen Jabot, Margaret Jones, Father George, Morris Lafferty, Jerry Antoine, Leo Norwegian, Barb Tetzel. And they were the ones that got together and started talking about the history of Fort Simpson. And that was way back in 1803, 1811, when it was Fort of the Forks, and they were talking about it to date. And when we, and then again, the first meeting was on May 1st, 1990. And I have to thank Marie Lafferty because she was at that meeting. And when they were serious about starting the talks about preserving the history of Fort Simpson. And since then, through the steps, the Heritage Committee has identified 5 buildings in Fort Simpson, which is the Andy Whittington, Albert Faley, the barn, the rectory, and the McPherson House. Those were the 5. And when we started, we looked at it, we zeroed in on the McPherson House, and we got it to where it is now. And it doesn't have power or water, but we use it for the summer, and we open it up for the summer. So that project is done. So we moved to another project, which is currently the historical building. And when we were building it, at one point, we wanted to come together with the Open Sky Society so that it could be the arts and crafts and the historical together. And so the Fort Simpson Historical is a charity. And so we wanted to be able to get funds that the Open Sky couldn't, and then they could get funds that we couldn't. So we wanted to work together, but that didn't pan out. And so that was one of the things that we had for the historical building. And so just bringing you up to date, we opened up the building in May of last year. And currently that building houses the first floor is the museum, which holds right now an exhibit for the Nat-Sinalu Society that has all the artifacts there. Then we have a gift shop. We have a conference room downstairs with a kitchen that can house 40 to 60 people. It depends on what you're doing. And the top floor, right now, we have the Berger Inquiry, which was a huge inquiry for that Thomas Berger led in the early 70s. And that is on an exhibit there, and we have that for 2 years. So with all that being said, I just feel that because of who we are and where we're situated at the confluence of the 2 rivers, and what an important milestone it was when Pope John Paul came here, we have to really assertively pursue saving our heritage and our historical buildings. And it's just been pushing this boulder uphill. And right now, I just find that I take great pride in being a part of the Historical Society. and haven't lasted this long since 1990, when Steve Rowan first introduced me to what he was doing. And I was thinking, I've got to get on board. I've got to, and I'm glad that I did, because I've learned many, many things. And so when we took over the Historical Society, and we moved it to where it is now, we were almost pushed out because the Decho Center there, La Pointe Hall, was torn down, and that's where we were. And so we had to spread all our stuff all over the place, and now it's just slowly coming back together and to where it is in that building. And so we're very conscious about how we do this. And it is the community that has to decide and come on side to make this work. Because right now we just have a handful of volunteers, and having been a volunteer for 30 years is a long time, and it's tiring. But I want to keep going because I'm passionate about preserving the history and the culture and the language, in which all comes together. So I didn't write a letter, but one of the things that I wanted to talk to the council about was to reclassify and designate the postage stamp of a land that the historical building currently sits on. So I want to for the council to consider that, because it is a community asset. It's not mine, it's the community's. Because after I'm long gone, it's going to be there. It's going to be another part of history, such as the McPherson House. And as we know that, like that, when Steve looked at that building and how he preserved it, and so now what I'm saying is to do the same for the rectory, for the Fort Simpson Historical Building. And so I'm putting it out there to the council to think about this, to reclassify and designate that small piece of land and the building as another heritage site. Because that building that the rectory sits on was built in 1911, and it was moved twice. Because it was originally up by the McPherson House, and it was moved twice. And there's a long history of it, and you have this book, The Historical Walk, and it has some history, some write-up in there. And so I think it's on page 18. And if you look at the pictures of the past, what we've built there is a replica of what it used to look like. And one of the things when we renovated it, we did not change the footprint. Therefore, because we didn't move it, we just built it on the foundation that it was there. And so it's a renovation. And so again, I would just ask the council to think about that. That's my first request. The second one is has been going on for many years, and it just kind of mystifies me what happened here, because I saw it as an easy fix, but then it just went totally left to where we're at with lawyers, when it was clearly, as I see it, I can speak from just my side when I see it, because the water that seeped into the building was chlorinated. And so somebody dropped the ball. And all of a sudden it's our fault. We are a nonprofit charity organization with no money. And we deal with totally donations and $55,000 a year. So when all of a sudden the village decided to say, it's your fault, it's the church's fault, it's this fault, and I lost whose fault it is. But we, out of the kindness of some community members, Norm Prevost for one, came, and it was interesting because the building was empty. It was framed in, and when we walked in there, we went down, there was no power in there. We went downstairs, my dog ran past me, right into the water. And I was thinking, what is going on here? And we looked, and there was water, about six inches of water on our newly poured floor, concrete floor. So what happened was when the water went underneath the platform, the cement platform, it had two steel beams. When the water went under the platform, under the cement, it pushed up the first floor. That pushed up the second floor. That pushed up the roof. And so all just from the basement and the water. And so we were scared of mold. That's the first thing. And so Norm came along, and he dried it, and he bleached it, and he helped put that, dried up some of that. And so it was through a lot of different avenues that we got to where we're at, and everything came back down, and we continued to build. And with the lead with Allison DePelham, we're operational and have moved into that building in May. And right now, what we're operating on is the revenue from the conference area that we're renting out, and the gift shop, and the operating money we're getting from the Prince of Wales. And everything else is totally volunteer. Allison is working there now in the afternoons, and we have been trying, and a lot of it has been assistance from other people, like the Prince of Wales, and now with Canada Council and some other volunteers from the Vancouver Museum, who is interested in coming alongside and being a part of us and helping us out to operate. And so that's where we're at with those two. So I am inviting you, the statement of claim hearing is going to be on February 5 at 1:00. And it's going to be with Allison, and I've asked Barb Tetzel to come along and be her support in that hearing. And again, it's just a hearing, and I don't know where it's going to go after that. So those are just the two issues that I wanted to bring forward to the council for their consideration.
Thank you. Do any of the councillors have any questions for Martina?
What is reclassify?
Well, in your in your heritage bylaw, you have a section in there, but then I couldn't find where your section led to, because you talked about going to the capital planning, and then you talked about the zoning. So it's in your bylaws. I think it's 311.
Lorna, do you know what type of tax zoning we apply to McPherson House so that they don't pay any tax? So I know they don't pay any tax, right?
No, heritage.
Yeah, I think but whatever it is, it'd be the same as the McPherson House. They have a certain designation or zoning right now. So basically, I think that's what she's asking for.
So you have 5 places. What are they?
We have 5 identified.
Identified 5
Mhm.
places.
Yeah, because the Albert Bailey place is a government, they're looking after that,
Oh, that's not
maintaining. And so so we've identified the Albert Bailey as a heritage is one of them. The barn is another one, and the hotel where the Nahanian
The old hotel.
employees, yeah, where they live, and the rectory, and like where the Fort Simpson Historical Society building is on, and the McPherson House.
Yeah.
Those are the 5 places that have been identified, and so this is our second project. And if I can just keep going, the barn has always been another one, but we can't even go there because we don't have any money or the resources to even do anything with it. The reason why the barn is so significant is because that's the last standing building of that era that it was built, and with the gambrel roof and the way that it's built with a dovetail. And so in all the territories, they had one in each of the communities, and this is the last one standing. And so it would be, I just think it would be just a total significant piece of property if we were to restore it. And so, and if to think that out of the territories, we're the only one with that kind of a building. And right now it's full of all, right now we have some artifacts in there that belong to Jean Marie. We have a Louis Norwegian skidoo in there. And so we want to give that back to Jean Marie when they're finished with their building over there. And we have a lot of different, you'll see some of the logs that came, that is around the propane tank. That was beams that were saved from the Anglican building that was burnt down, and we saved some of that. So that are the beams that are around the propane tank. And we're looking at building a fence, and that was one of the agreements we had with the church. And then they took down the trailer, and so we figured they forgot about it, but they didn't. So we still have to build the fence. And so so that's one of the, maybe not in my lifetime, but I just want, to know the significance of that barn. Everybody looks at it and thinking, tear it down, it's just an eyesore, it's this and that. But when you're looking at the historic value of what it is, and how we need to save the past to bring it into the future, so our younger generation can see where we've come from. We weren't just born today and continue on. We have to save the significance of the historic value of some of our buildings and to keep that going. Because when visitors come here, they don't want to see modern buildings like the new church. They don't want to see, like the modern. They want to see, like, who is the Fort of the Forts, and to have, you have a visitors information center here. They want to go on the historical walk, and they want to see where, where we've been, where we've come from. And, even like a lot of our old buildings are gone, because we saw them as an eyesore and not as the historic value that they needed, that we should have hung on to, and didn't see the value at that time, and now it's gone.
I know we had some guests one time, and they said, well, there's nothing old, like you don't have anything old. I said, well, everything's built of wood.
Mm-hmm.
It's 100 years, and it's like, there's not much there.
Yeah. And it's interesting how the RCMP was here, because they brought in a photo album of our old buildings, and when I was looking through them, and so we're just going to scan them and do something with them. Like Janor was asking, what did the Willows look like before? And so they want some history on what their building looked like before. And so, having been a part of the Natsanaloo Society, we have that, and we can assist them with that. And so, I just see our interest has to be there. It has to be, like, I'm just asking the council to make that one of the highlights, one of the importance of Fort of the Forks. When we say that, because, in 1921, is coming up. 100 years is coming up next year, and we're preparing to celebrate that. We're preparing with the Vancouver Museum to put an exhibit at the building. And so there's just so many, like, it's busy. It may not seem like it, but it's busy. And so I'm just asking the council for their assistance and their consideration and their input. There's, like you can come and volunteer, you can come and check the building out. Yeah. So
And-
that's my spiel.
Well, thank you, Martina. On the designation of the land as a heritage site, we will take that up and we'll work with you to see what the process is and move that further along. We'll certainly be bringing it up.
Mhm.
On the issue of the legal matter, well, we can't say too much because it is a legal matter now, but I do sympathize with what you're saying there. And I think, it is good to note that, like, through the efforts of people like yourself and the commitment over 30 years, as you say, helping to identify and save and put our history back into an important place in the community, that really counts for a lot. And so I think if there's an opportunity to work more closely with you in the future and however that works, I think that's something we should be striving for.
Mhm.
And hopefully the legal matters will sort themselves out. I know that, as you say, this is an upcoming kind of negotiation or first step, and we'll be listening carefully to what the lawyers say and what the facts are, and certainly our lawyers do take some direction from us as well. So we thank you for your input and for all your hard work too.
Okay, well, thank you.
Okay?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Martina, can I call you, give you a call tomorrow regarding 2021?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay. So, we've got item number 7, adoption of minutes. I've got a motion moved by Councillor McPherson, seconded by Councillor Bellefontaine. The council approved the minutes of RM23 of December 2nd, 2019 as presented, unless someone has some changes. None noted, so all in favor of accepting? All right, 6 in favor, none against. Minutes are adopted. And mayor's report, tonight I have no report to give. SAO report, is there no report to give tonight? Tabled item, did anybody have any questions for Ben, since this is the SAO time? Okay, Daryl was sick, he couldn't be here tonight. Tabled items and old business, there is none tonight. Committee minutes and recommendation, none again. Under new business, we do have an item. I don't believe we have the written out. Unless it's on the table, maybe. Or is it in the- Oh, I think- no. Oh, there it is. Okay, sorry. Under 11 new business, I've got a motion moved by Councillor Rafferty, seconded by Councillor Morrow. The council approved the development permit application from the NWT Housing Corporation. Any discussion? Yes, Councillor Grote?
Kind of discussion on it, all right. Are we starting down Main Street with Housing Corporation houses now? What is our plan, village plan, develop for things? Like, I mean, we're running out of properties in town, and Housing Corporation is squeezing things onto every possible lot they can find. Okay. Somehow we have to develop more land that we can develop into affordable housing or housing of any sort. We have got zero plans for development around here. We need to seriously start looking at that. I'm not fussy about this at all.
Right. And I know that this lot flip-flopped a couple of times in the past on its zoning.
Yeah,
And the council last designated it as multi-unit residential. The only discrepancy between that and what's being asked here for tonight by the Housing Corporation is that these two units would not actually be connected. As in our multi-unit residential bylaw, we actually do say something about they're supposed to be all together, like a threeplex or a fourplex. That's what we call multi-unit residential. We don't call two duplexes on one lot normally multi-unit, although the word might make you think that. So it would be a slight deviation there. It would, if this were approved, although we certainly do have houses on the other side, on both sides of that lot.
Both sides.
Yeah, on the main street, on 100th Street, there's a house on the other side of 103rd and 100th, and there's another house on 100th just going back up towards Unity, and
No, there isn't.
I think that's the Tetzel house.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you're right.
Yeah,
Yes, you're right.
what we call the Tetzel house. So it wouldn't be that far out of character for the neighborhood, but I understand what you're saying, that we're losing gradually more and more potential commercial space, which you normally see on the main street. But I think in this case, the decision was already made by a previous council.
Well, no, yeah, gentlemen, the history on that property, as far as I understand it, it was a commercial property.
yeah.
It was.
And then the person who bought it wanted to put a modular unit on there, and council would not let him do that. So then they had to zone it to residential, then he could put a modular unit on that.
Mhm.
So it's.
And then he came back one more time and wanted it changed back to multi-unit at some point. I think because maybe he knew the buyer,
Yeah, I don't know.
or it was either him or housing that came. Somebody came to us and asked for this to be rezoned to multi-unit.
Wasn't there at one point a garage with a residence or an apartment attached to it? I think that's the last time I saw any application towards this.
Wonder if you're thinking about the lot right
No.
down from it.
That's Malcolm McPhail's lot.
Right.
Originally, he purchased that. And, yeah, and I don't know why not reverted back to the territorial government. It's commissioner's land.
It is commissioner's land, yeah.
Yeah, but it was, he purchased it. So I don't know. I don't like.
Remember that he had issues parking his trailer onto it. He couldn't drive the truck up.
Yeah.
It really was causing a bit of an inconvenience for traffic.
Yes, I don't know.
So he wants to put two duplexes on there?
Yeah,
Two
that's
duplexes,
gonna-
yeah. So there have to be space for 4 vehicles, I think.
That's a lot. That's too much.
I don't know if we have what's the recommendation of administration on this one?
From
Have they looked at this?
the information I got from Darrell, he said that they've looked at it and they are happy that to be council could approve it.
Who's happy?
I mean, administration.
Okay, our development permits, did we remove the requirement for a fire marshal's inspection?
So, no, we haven't.
It's in there?
Yeah.
Okay. And all those inspections are all in there, still on the form?
Yes.
Because I do believe there was talk about taking all that stuff out or waiving those inspections.
Yeah, on this drawing, I don't see where the access is going to be for the vehicles. Is it coming off 100th Street?
It's coming off Main Street there, yeah. That's what those slots are there.
Right.
It's gonna be tight. Believe me, that picture looks really good, but that lot will be, how deep would that be?
I can see there being,
75 feet maybe?
yeah, and I could see there being some, well, possible visibility issues, but also the fact that this curb is gonna have to be taken down in order that, because you're gonna cross a sidewalk here and a curb to get up onto this lot, right? And, I wonder who's gonna be paying for that? Us?
Why don't they put
I don't
them,
feel comfortable. But
Yeah, same here.
So should we table this maybe to a committee, next committee meeting and
I agree,
take a closer look at it, maybe ask for more information?
I
If
agree.
any of the counselors have some ideas on what they want to see, just email it to Daryl. And we'll try to get more information. Maybe housing can explain some things on this too. Okay. So, can I get a motion to table this?
I make a motion table.
I'll second it.
Okay, Councillor Groves and Councillor McPherson seconds to table. All in favor? 6 in favor.
I'm in
Yes.
favor.
Oh, sorry.
I said it the last time. I don't think you heard.
Oh,
I'd have to amend the other one.
you know, I'm gonna go back and change that.
Video, I think.
Okay. I changed that, Deputy Mayor, so that, all right. All right, we're moving past that issue. Bylaws, there's none this evening. Correspondence and information, we have a letter from the Premier. Or actually, the Minister of Justice, sorry.
You're close.
Yeah. Carolyn, same first name. Any comments on that letter?
I don't have it.
I have a comment.
Okay, Deputy Mayor, go ahead.
Sean, when we had this meeting regarding the public site, at the public meeting, we said we'd be having a tri-council meeting. Can you confirm if you did have one?
Afterwards, no, we haven't had one.
Okay, that's what we had said we were going to do. And the chief and council were not CC'd in this letter. I would ask of you to, out of courtesy, send a copy over to the chief and council about it.
Okay, we can do that.
And inform Caroline, the Minister of Finance, that, you know, that we forwarded to them.
Yeah,
I don't
and
think she knows
maybe
that.
to the meaty as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll add those two on the CC list and send this one over to both organizations.
Yeah.
Okay,
But as per protocol, you have to respond to her and say you've CC'd these two letters off to them.
right, okay, we'll be glad to do that.
Thank you.
All right. Council matters and concerns. Perhaps Councillor McPherson, did you want to start on that tonight?
No, I don't have anything at this time.
Okay.
I thought I did, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
Councillor Hassan?
I have two
Council-
issues. I believe one issue was the presentation of Martina. So I would like to see our support, or in the coming council meeting or the committee of the whole, we can add this issue to the council, so we can discuss the possibility of us supporting the historical society. Internationally, all governments and all the UN agencies and the UNESCO, they are supporting the heritages and historical sites, and we are here like reluctant to support the only historical body we have in our region, and that's really kind of like embarrassing. The second one, which I don't want to talk about it, but how we ended up with them in the court with the law or with the lawyers. So this is also something we should also consider very soon. The third matter is I got an email from an organization called the Arctic Afro Cultural Association, and they want to have an event in Fort Simpson here. Definitely, I redirected them to contact the mayor and to contact the LKFN and the Métis. They want to have kind of like a heritage day or 2 days in Fort Simpson in September. So still they have time. And I send them an email. If I get an update, I will update you guys, and I will email the other organizations as well. That's all what I can say. Thank you.
Okay, did you want to tell us a little bit about what that organization is about?
I believe they are. I don't know. It's supporting youth activities. The issue is they're dealing with the multiculturalism, and they have. I don't have all information, but I will get you the information. They are working on anti-racial, anti-discrimination, and they will have the event. They have an event. It's going to be 2 events or 3 events. One is going to be in Yukon territory, and one in the NWT. And I believe they nominated for Simpson to be their spot here. And it will be a dance and singing and dancing and cultural activities here, just like the Heritage Day in Edmonton or in Alberta. So that's as much as I know.
Okay.
What's their name?
It's Arctic Afro Cultural Association.
Okay.
Arctic Afro?
Arctic Afro Cultural Association.
Okay, well, we'll look forward to hearing from them.
Sounds like
Thank
See
you.
what can happen.
Okay.
Councillor Grote, is that all, Councillor Hassan?
Yeah, that's all.
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, sorry. Oh, so they are thinking if they are coming here, that might lead us to, as a village council, to support them in kind, to waive the rental fees of the rec center, or provide them with little in kind help or in kind support. So I don't think you guys are gonna say no to that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sounds like an interesting event.
Yeah.
All in favor, I guess, eh?
Okay, Councillor Grote?
Nothing tonight.
No, okay. Councillor Morrow? Councillor Bellefontaine?
Not right now.
Councillor Lafferty?
No.
Okay. Well, with that, then, we're gonna have, yes,
I have-
sorry. Deputy Mayor?
Okay, I was really glad that, I just wanted to bring this up for information only. I know that Martina brought up something about 1921. I couldn't really put my finger on that 1921 that she was talking about. But there was a treaty signed on July 11th in Fort Simpson in 1921. The First Nations people signed the treaty with the King George at that time, the Crown. So I do believe there's been initial discussion on having a celebration for that, for First Nations. So I just want to keep that open because it's a historical milestone for First Nations people who this land is their land, and I'm hoping the council would be able to support and assist and help whatever way they could with their celebrations in 1921.
Yeah.
Be 100 years. of colonization.
No, it does sound like something that would be great for the community. A big event too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if I can just add to that, LKFN is establishing a committee, a working committee. So this is why I'm gonna talk to the Heritage and Parks and ITI. So we're taking the lead on that.
Okay. Yeah, and certainly anything we can do to help out. If you want us on the committee too.
Yes, the rep coordinator.
Okay.
Yeah, as a village of Fort Simpson, I think we need to have make a statement or something like that and congratulating this signing.
Yeah, we could do official things like that too, for sure. Okay, is that all, Deputy Mayor?
No,
Okay.
I was concerned about the recent reports of wolves being in town, and I'm hearing different things that they were actually in the middle of town. I'm not too sure how accurate those reports are. I'm just hoping maybe we could work with ENR to see if we can encourage our First Nations people or any resident within our municipality to report anything they see of any wolf in the community.
Yeah.
Because it's being reported to Facebook, apparently. But just need that extra step to call that wildlife number and report anything at any time.
Mm-hmm.
Concerning.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've heard those same reports, and as you say, if they're wandering around town in the evening, it's certainly something to be aware of, and it's a safety concern, and we want to make sure ENR is on top of it, and our own residents are being kept informed.
Yeah, and we just need to encourage our residents to report it right away.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so that's the regular part of the meeting. We do have Lori Nadia here from Lands Department, and she's going to have a little discussion with us in camera on some land lease issues with the village. And also, we have a legal matter, which might even be something to do with the Historical Society. Okay. Okay, so do you want to take a short break?
Yeah.
5-minute break, and then we'll come back for our in-camera? We'll let the room clear out.
Okay, I won't be hanging up.
Okay, no,
I'll just stay on the line.
okay.
Can you hear your voice?
I do. Oh, it's under that? Yeah.
So you want me to wait till after break? You want me to wait till after break? Yeah.
Just fine.
Yeah, and then I have to turn off, I'm gonna
Oh,
turn
turn that-
that off now anyway.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just asking for about that, and because, our property sits not on this side of the pole, right to the door